Okay, well, it's 6:30 and we're going to go ahead and get started. Want to welcome everybody to our March 2nd Hendersonville Regional Planning Commission meeting via Zoom video conference. And, once again, it's been determined that meeting electronically is necessary to protect public health and safety and welfare in light of the coronavirus. And recording of this meeting will be made available to the public online. And with that, we need to take a vote on that opening statement in the affirmative, and we'll use this as our roll call vote as well. So if you can just vote present, that'll be great. That'll help us out a great deal. Ms. Beery, call the roll.
All right, do I have a motion?
You have a motion to accept the opening statement. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Motion second by Ms. Silkwood. Motion made by Mr. Lee. Let's go ahead and call the roll.
All righty. Altizer,
Yes.
Brian McCormick,
Yes.
Hardcastle,
Yes.
Hardwick,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Longmire,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Thank you, Mr.
Silkwood,
Yes.
and Stringfellow.
Yes.
All right, that's all 10.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Stringfellow, will you open us in a word of prayer tonight?
Sure. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this beautiful weather that you've given us this week. And I thank you for just being able to get out and enjoy the sunshine when we can. And Lord, I pray for Planning Commission tonight that you would just be with each one of us, that we would make the right decisions for our city. And I pray that you would be with their city and all that work there. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Ms. Stringfellow. Moving to item number 4 on our agenda, we have no public hearings. Item number 5, is there any requests for information assistance from any of the commissioners? All right, hearing none. Additions to the agenda. Okay, there are none tonight. We have the minutes from February 2nd. Do we have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
To approve of Mr.
Second.
Alter, second by Ms. Silkwood. Any discussion? All those in favor, if you would signify by saying aye when your name is called. Ms. Beery.
Altizer,
Aye.
Brian McCormick,
Aye.
Hardcastle,
Yes.
Hardwick,
I was not here, so I need to abstain.
Okay,
Lee,
Aye.
Longmire,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Silkwood,
Aye.
Stringfellow,
Abstain.
and Jenkins.
aye.
All right, that's 8.
8 ayes, 2 abstentions. It passes.
I wasn't there.
Final plats, we'll go with the Old Shackle Island Cottages, and Grant, go ahead and bring us up to date. It looks like they've agreed to all staff comments, but go ahead and bring us up to date.
Good deal. Yes, sir. This is a final plat, 8 single-family home lots with the 1 open space lot on Old Shackle Road. We previously had approved, because the MFR zoning, a townhome site plan in 2020. The development cost on that, according to the developer, he kind of alluded that they're too high to do that plan. So he instead opted to do 8 single-family lots. And they did agree to all staff comments on this. And USPS, as much my understanding, also has allowed them to have individual mailboxes for each of the lots as well for this development.
Okay, that's good information. Are there any questions for Grant on any of this? They've agreed to all staff comments. Be happy to hear from the developer if they're here. It's not necessary, but if you're here, we'd hear from you. Okay.
I have one quick question.
Okay, Mr. Hardwick, please.
Grant, will each of these individual lots have driveway connections? I know that's a really busy section of road right there. It's the only comment that I have.
That was something that we discussed a lot between Public Works and us and the developer. We had some concerns about site distance in that curve, street trees. We looked at different things with that. Instead, we looked at that as having instead of the street trees right in the grass strip there, we looked at that as being doing a per lot tree allowance and, just try to make a solution that would work, to address some of those issues. In addition, the driveway connections will be paired, so they'll have joint driveways, and they'll have just one connection per 2 lots. So that should help address some of those access management concerns.
Did you talk about having a back alley that you would have one connection into Old Shackle and then everything be backloaded into the back of the lots through an alleyway?
I believe we did talk to the developer about, just kind of mention that as an option, and I think he said that I think they stated that was cost prohibitive to do something like that. That was essentially the design of the townhome plan, was to have a back alley with the parking in the rear. However, that was one of the things I think that made it cost prohibitive to develop on that property, other than just the slopes.
Understand.
So who is responsible, or who is the one that has the say-so about a back alley? Is that the city or is that somebody else?
Well, generally, I believe on something like this, it would be very unusual on a single family development to require something like that, and possibly would be looked at as being a very maybe too much of a requirement to place on an 8-lot development, if that makes any sense.
Let me weigh in here. If they did a back alley, are these lots deep enough with setbacks? It'd have to come up closer, wouldn't it, to the Old Shackle? And then do they really have it would have to be at least 26 feet. Am I right?
Right. For
For
fire code. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I mean, it's 8 lots. It's below the threshold, I would think. And then I'm not even sure the lots are the topographies works with that.
Yeah, it's the very challenging topography over there with the certainly, when that's something that we did, consider quite a bit, was the back alley option, and try to think about that as being an option. But it was one of those things that it was probably too much to ask of a developer for one 8-lot development, just to the cost and then also due to the topography, make it essentially undevelopable likely.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hardcastle. Are there any more questions? Ms. Longmire, thank you as well. Any other questions? Mr. Lee?
Question, just a comment. Very seldom do we see a lower density proposal. So I do think it's encouraging that occasionally we do get one of these. I do love the idea about the back alleys, but I think your comment, Mr. Chairman, about the depth of the lot and the ability and the cost with such a small development might make it prohibitive. But but would commend Commissioner Hardwick. That was an excellent suggestion to look at.
Thank you.
If there's no other questions, I would move for approval.
We do have a motion to approve with all staff comments. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by a multitude of commissioners. Who wants to claim it on that one? You've had 2 or 3. Who else?
I'll second,
Okay.
Darlene.
Ms. Stringfellow.
It's in my area. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All right. If you're in favor, please indicate yes. If you're not, indicate no. And Lauren, call the roll.
Altizer,
Aye.
Bryant McCormick,
Yes.
Hardcastle,
Yes.
Hardwick,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Longmire,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Silkwood,
Yes.
Stringfellow,
Yes.
and Jenkins.
Yes.
All right, that's all 10.
All right. That passes unanimously. Move on to site plans, item number 9 on the agenda. And I would note that Jackson Townhomes on your agenda, as you've probably already noted, it's been deferred by the applicant, so we're not going to be considering that tonight. Moving on to Light Bridge Academy, and I received a message from Mr. Hardcastle about, do you have some information you'd like to share with us? Did I read that right?
I'll just be abstaining for any discussion and voting on it. I'm going to be building that building, so.
Okay, okay. Well, we can use you for a resource, obviously, but if you have a conflict of interest there, then we understand that. Okay, they do agree with all staff comments, but I'm going to turn it over to Timothy and Sydney to bring us up to date on this. And of course, if we have any questions, we can ask the builder as well. So Timothy or Sydney?
Thanks, Chairman. This project is located in Durham Farms. It's on the east side of the roundabout there. This is one of two commercial lots in Durham Farms, which they're meant for neighborhood level retail, office services, those types of uses. So Lightbridge Academy is a child daycare center. This will be a 10,000 square foot single story facility. The Lightbridge has worked extensively with staff and with the Durham Farms ARC to get this building oriented really optimally to the site, so that it helps to frame that side of the roundabout. They've also worked with us extensively on the building architecture, so that it really complements the neighborhood and also the amenity center that's located behind it. They have agreed to all staff comments.
Timothy, it's hard to tell on this drawing, but what's really the color palette going to be here? I'm assuming you've got some brick in there. Is it going to be shiplap, hardy? What's it going to be there?
So it's brick and hardy.
Okay.
So it's got a brick water table below. Kind of the two on the front there, the two gable ends. Those gable sections will be brick.
Okay.
You've got hardy on the main body of the building. As far as the color palette, it's a white and painted white brick. I'm sorry. The brick water table will be more of a beige or tan color. It'll be very similar to the same color palette that is on the amenity center.
Okay. Yeah.
So
yeah.
if you've seen that, you know what this is going to look like.
All righty. Any questions from commissioners for either Mr. Whitten or Mr. Hardcastle? Mr. Lee.
It's really not a building issue. I don't know if the operator is here. I'm just wondering how many employees will be employed by the Lighthouse Academy. It looks like an excellent plan.
Yeah.
I can tell you on the, and there may be somebody who can speak in more detail to that, but on their site plan, they've indicated up to 28 employees.
Okay.
I do believe we have a representative for the Lightbridge Academy who was here earlier. Would you like to answer that question, sir? Go ahead.
Yes, I can. This is David with Development Management Group. I'm actually the civil engineer on the project. And as of right now, we've anticipated approximately, I think, 28 employees total, maybe upwards of, I believe it was about 170 maximum students. That's kind of just given based off of another project that they've done fairly close in the area. They didn't really have quite that many, but we've kind of planned for that just in case.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Answer your question, Mr. Lee?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I heard another voice. Are there any more?
Maybe.
Yeah, Beth, go ahead.
Yes. I know, I mean, it looks nice and it looks like an asset, but this is not restricted to just people that live in Durham Farms, even though it's on their property. Is that correct?
I
don't believe that it is. I know that it's obviously going to serve them in the community there very well, being that it's in Durham Farms, but I believe that yes, they can allow additional people outside.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Are there any more questions? Okay, hearing none, do we have a motion to accept with all staff comments? Approve with all staff comments?
Also move.
So moved by Beth Longmire. Second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Altizer. Any more discussion? All right, hearing none, we're going to call the roll. Ms. Berry, call the roll. If you're in favor, say aye. If you're not, say no. So,
Altizer,
Aye.
Brett McCormick,
Aye.
Hardcastle.
I'm abstaining.
That's right. Hardwick,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Longmire,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Silkwood,
Aye.
Stringfellow,
Aye.
and Jenkins.
aye. Passes
All
with
right.
one abstention for conflict of interest. All right, we're moving on now to Optimum Men's Health. And Timothy, bring us up to date.
This site is located on Maple Road Boulevard, and this is an area that has really undergone a remarkable level of development the past few years. Just a large number of buildings have been built back there, office type development. Swagger Dentistry is a new building back there. Cornerstone Primary Healthcare, Maple Row Medical Offices, Tabor Dental is over there. Southeastern has built 5 buildings, 3 of which are multi-tenant type buildings. One of which is going to be one of those is under construction. That's going to be, I believe, for medical office. And then they have another building that's going up kind of back behind the Kroger. I think is going to be for the Southeastern office. And then you've got Carrier Chiropractic next to this site. I believe the construction on that is pending. And then this project is Optimum Men's Healthcare. It's a medical clinic, 6,587 square foot, single story office building. And they have agreed to all staff comments.
Okay. Any questions for Timothy or I don't know if there is a representative for Optimum here tonight, but
I'm Natalie Gerald and I'm representing the project.
Okay, you've agreed to all staff comments and
Yes.
we'll let's see if any commissioners have any questions for you. Any questions? I have one, and it looks like from the aerial that it's going to be covered. Is there any screening on the back?
Yes.
Okay.
We will not be removing all of the existing vegetation.
That's what I figured. Okay. All right.
Yeah, there's a staff comment that if they at the time we do the UNO inspection after construction, but we'll go out there, staff will go out there and look at that existing vegetation. And if there is any visibility through it, we reserve the right to ask them at that time to supplement that existing vegetation with new plant material. So.
Right. That would be, it's a beautiful looking building, but my one concern would be is that the neighbors behind them would be properly cared for on that regard.
I have a quick question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, please.
So it's a little bit difficult to tell in our packet, but it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of color contrast in the features of the building. Can somebody kind of go over and I couldn't read what the color legend said. So it all kind of looks all just very dark gray overall, except for looks like it's going to be copper and on the roof in certain sections. Can someone just review that with us?
Thank you, Ms. Silkwood. Yeah, who would like to handle it? Natalie, would you like to?
Yes.
Please.
So the building is kind of a contemporary design. The gray area will be a real stucco and a Santa Barbara finish. So it's not just a flat appearance. It actually has a hand troweled design on that. And then the roof is more of a brown timber color. And the stone is going to be slate, and the brick at the bottom is black.
So
Okay, thank you. So there's more variance than it appears. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell all of that when I'm looking at it. It kind of looks all very dark and foreboding when you're looking at it. But what you're saying is there at least some variation with some browns and tones.
Yes. And the stucco will have a texture because it's real stucco, and a Santa Barbara finish has a very mottled look to it. Kind of like a leathered appearance.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
So all of the orange looking is the copper? Is it copper?
Correct. That's right.
That'll eventually turn green.
It's not real copper.
Oh, it's not.
It's a metal roof that's just copper color.
Okay.
Okay, good questions. Any more questions by commissioners?
Chairman, I have a question.
Okay, please.
And this is for Miss Gerald. What is a men's health?
It is a primary care facility for men.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. And do you know how many doctors the facility might have full-time?
They have 3 providers on staff
Okay.
full-time.
Does that include nurse practitioners or are they medical doctors?
They are physician assistants.
PAs.
Okay.
And do you know how many patients they will be accepting?
They currently have a practice now, and they see approximately 80 patients a day.
Thank you.
All right, good question. Any others tonight? Okay, hearing none. Do I have a motion to accept with all staff comments?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Lee, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Chairman.
Second by Ms. Stringfellow. And hearing no other questions, we'll go ahead and call the roll. If you're for this, say yes. If you're not, say no. Call the roll.
Altizer,
Aye.
Brad McCormick,
I think it said she left. I'm not sure.
Okay.
all right. Hardcastle,
Yes.
Hardwick,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Longmire,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Silkwood,
Yes.
Stringfellow,
Yes.
and Jenkins.
Yes.
All right.
I just got a message from Ms. McCormick. Somehow she got kicked off. She's trying to log back on, so I don't know if our city administrator can, or whoever is handling that, our IT person can look into that. But I just got a message from her about that on a text message. Okay, that passes. Optimum Men's Health.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
The dog likes it too, so that's great. Okay, we're moving on now to Popeyes, and that's Timothy again and Keith. So who wants to handle this one?
I'll take that. This is located at the intersection of Calendar Lane and East Main Street, there by across Calendar Lane from Lowe's. I believe y'all are pretty familiar with this project, since it was just recently rezoned from rural residential to general commercial. This is a straight zoning. It's not a planned development. As far as the site plan, it's pretty straightforward. They have really maximized the amount of stacking they have by having it wrap. It wraps around the building before it gets to the pickup window there on the east side of the building. I believe y'all, the commission may have seen a letter from Neil Chenault asking about the 8-foot tall buffer wall. You can see the wall there on the east side of the building, adjacent to the property adjacent to it, to the right of it, is zoned rural residential. So that's why the buffer is required. Of course, as I said, this is straight zoned, so all they have to do is meet the minimum requirements as specified by the zoning ordinance. I'm not sure where the 8 feet came from. The zoning ordinance requires 6 feet, a 6-foot high wall for this particular application. They do show on the site plan that the wall is going to be 8 feet. However, I did talk to the engineer. He's aware that the minimum requirement is 6 feet, not 8 feet. They may be amending that to 6 feet. I'm not sure if he's here to speak to that. But I did just kind of want to go over that letter real quick in case y'all had any questions about it. They have agreed to all staff comments.
Okay, do we have anybody that's representing Popeyes here?
Yes, this is Randy Perry, the civil engineer on the project representing Popeyes.
Hey, Randy, how you doing?
Good. Good. We do agree with all the staff comments. And as far as the wall is concerned, our understanding was that 8 foot was the minimum. We did show 8 feet on the original site plan. We did learn that 6 feet is the minimum required, and we revised the plans to show 6 feet. However, with the concern of the neighbor, obviously we would prefer a 6 foot wall because it's a pricey wall anyway. It's brick on both sides and columns, and there's quite a robust landscaping scheme along the east side of the wall. However, if the commission prefers that we elevate it to 8 feet, then we would do so.
You know, I think that that would be a great move on your part if you go ahead and just amend your site plan as it was to begin with. I realize there's a little bit more cost involved, but I think that would be a great show of faith by Popeyes and the neighbor as well to help us out with that. You know, as far as mandating it, you know, Planning Commission can vote however it wants to vote on this kind of thing, but I like the fact that you are willing to help the neighbor out. If that could be, if we could just kind of codify that and go ahead and do that, I think that would be a great thing, Randy.
Yeah, that's fine with it. I'm not asking for a mandate. We'll certainly do it. You
Okay,
can amend the motion that way. That's fine with us.
Okay, well, we can do that. We're just going to put for all original staff comments and with the wall showing at 8 feet. Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Perry or about the building or questions for Timothy and the commissioners?
Just a quick question, Mr. Chairman. Actually, two small questions combined into one. So if maybe Mr. Whitten could answer, how close to the road will that 8 foot wall come? And also, I noticed in his comment number 7 that the rear of the building was lacking some features, and I know they've agreed to all staff comments, but what were the changes that were made to bring in an agreement?
So addressing your last point first, as far as the architecture, that's something we still have to hammer out with the applicant. What we would ask them to do is to put their minds to that first before we don't want to throw anything out there. We'd rather allow them to provide a creative solution to that rear wall. So I don't have anything particular in mind as to how they could address that. There's a number of ways that they could do that. But I do know one of the things that we want to look at is just the color scheme. Their current proposal is a red brick plus a pretty white brick along with some black trim, very contrasty. And we'd like them to go back and kind of rethink some of those brick colors to kind of bring down that high contrast tone. But to answer that question, that's
just a follow up on the brick, Mr. Whitten. So what reads on my computer in the packet and what we're looking at on the screen looks gray. Is that really white brick and then red brick on the sides? It's so hard to tell with these.
It is. If you were to pull it up in Adobe or some reader that you can zoom in on it, it looks gray because it's so small. The black lines make it look gray. It is actually the samples that we have in the office are actually a whiter color brick.
Okay.
And then as far as your question about how close the wall comes to the Main Street, comes just past I'd say about 20 feet past the front plane of the wall, of the building. We obviously will take a look at the site distance, make sure that it does not impact anybody's ability exiting Calendar Lane to see oncoming traffic. That's something the engineer will make sure of.
Okay, just a quick follow-up on the brick. I mean, it's obviously hard to tell because it's not reading correctly as it's true on the computer, but I mean, I would say that I kind of like the idea of a lighter brick than the darker brick that shows on the computer. I just, I think it's a little bit too much with the dark red, and then if it were a dark gray brick, just, I don't know,
Hey.
just my preference, just throwing that out there.
Hey, Timothy, I can address both those comments. The wall is 45 feet from the face of the curb, and it's well clear of any sight distance concerns. As far as the brick, there's a color chart on one of the black and whites. Ms. Silkwood is right. It is hard to read. The colors kind of get muted and thrown together, but the color titles are Steel Manor, Steel, Cape Cod, Greystone, Matte Black, Bright Red, that's the canopy, and Roman Blue. So those are the color names on the architect's, the black and white elevation. The architect has agreed to work with staff on the color palette as well. This is, the theme is a Louisiana kitchen. That's where the shutters are. And so it is a bit of a contrast, but that's the theme that Popeyes wants to present.
I want any more questions, Ms. Silkwood, on that issue?
No, thank you all for answering.
I do have, I want somebody to help us walk through, maybe Timothy or Randy, since you're here as well. Walk me through once again the traffic flow coming down Calendar. It looks like you're going in what would be on the back side. And is the traffic flow, they're gonna hang a right and have to go around, and then they exit out to the top. Am I right?
That's correct. This is essentially a counterclockwise movement. Once you enter the site, we originally wanted an access off East Main. That was shot down pretty quickly. So the direction we were given was push the access back as far as we could to allow stack on a Calendar. So we have pushed it as far to the north as we can. We did show it a cross access easement, or a future cross access to the east. So as you enter the site, you do take a right. That's that gray area.
Mm-hmm.
You enter into the counterclockwise movement. Then you would peel into the concrete or the stippled area into the drive-through lane. And the width of the lane on the east side is a double wide lane. So you could, in theory, have cars stacked all the way around the building, a complete circle around the building, and still vehicles can enter and exit without getting in the stack.
Yeah, without getting too technical, you said double wide. That lane that's coming around the side, heading back to the back again. How wide is that?
It's 24 feet.
Okay. All right. So a fire truck could go all the way around that building.
It can. As it's shown now, a fire truck can go around. There's an auto turn template in the site plan with Hendersonville's ladder truck that we've had that template for a while. So we modeled that on a Hendersonville project. However, since I got the final comments, the staff report, we have whittled it away at that teardrop shaped island at the very north peak,
mm-hmm.
so that we have a minimum of 20 feet clear around the site, whereas we were pinched right there. So we widened that. So the answer is yes, a Hendersonville, the largest ladder truck, can make it around the site within the drive aisle, and that's on the plans.
Well, I know our staff has already worked through all of this with you, but I want it to be on our discussion here tonight as well, that this has been thought through. And of course, the fire department, if they had an issue, they would bring it up. But
yes.
Okay. That's
and
all.
I'd like to ask a question, David.
Yes, please.
So if the way it is right now, the city is working with the owner on the color scheme and any other, the 8-foot, I mean, Mr. Perry has said they would do the 8-foot fence, and I know that that's what the neighbor thought it was going to be from day one. So is it the city and the owner now that would determine any variance in the coloring? This is a pretty unattractive building right now, in my opinion. It's my opinion. And it's right there on a main part of Gallatin Road that when people come into town, you know, when you've been here, you don't see things after a while because you've seen them for a while. But when you're coming in and you're learning the city new, things like that can stand out, and not necessarily, though it is personal, but not necessarily make a positive impression.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
Yeah, to address that, you know, typically what we do is we work with the applicant from what we initially get, and then work it, you know, before it gets to the planning commission to get it improved. But many times, is just as in this case, they're getting it approved. If they get it approved, they're getting approved with staff comments. And that includes, as Timothy has shared, to do some things to address exactly the very attractive details of the fencing, as well as some of the stuff about how it looks from the rear and then the whole color combination and things like that. I'll share my screen just for a second, just kind of show how the process works. Originally, the original, can everybody see that? Wait a minute. Can everybody see that?
Yeah, we see. Yeah, here we go.
Okay.
Yeah. So what that is that's what they originally submitted. And then we had different things like, for example, the way these light fixtures are orange and the way the Popeyes was orange, you know, we felt like that was really too much orange color on that. And so you can see from the one that we're looking at this evening, they changed that to white and subdued some of that colors. And you can see the colors are different too. This was a little bit more stark. And the one you're looking at tonight, even though it's not quite there, the balance of what we want to see, they changed it by some of our staff comments. So I just wanted to show that to you to see kind of how that process kind of works. And really this is kind of how it'll work is if it's approved tonight, then the developer and the developer's consultants, they'll work with me and Timothy to resolve these visual issues. And we have pretty high bar on what they need to do. And if they can't meet our expectation, then it'll have to come back to the planning commission to work out those details. But I think in general, you know, if you look at that building, one of the things we're trying to do, and we're doing it here with this particular project, is making sure it's not a building that looks like if 7 years from now it wasn't a Popeyes chicken, it'll always look like a Popeyes chicken. And if you notice the building, you know, there's different improvements that can still be made to it, but it could be a pharmacy 7 years from now, or it could be an ice cream store or retail. The form of the building is something that could change very easily without a large expense. A good example of that is the Krispy Kreme, that now, you know, it's the
Slim Chicken.
Yeah, it's that chicken place. And you notice it took a lot of money to convert that Krispy Kreme from what it looked like to what it looks like today. And so now it's something that could be a lot of different things. And so that's one of the things we're trying to do. And that's a part of when you hear us talk about placemaking, you know, building design and placement is creating a placemaking that it matters less what the use is, because the form of the building can handle a lot of different uses without a substantial total renovation of the exterior. So I just want to take that moment to kind of explain how that process works.
And one other thing, David, if I might continue.
Okay.
I have a little bit of concern about how people are going to get to it. And I know now they've got a 24-foot that would accommodate 2 rows of traffic. And I know for the business standpoint, that would be great. But that's a lot of cars. And, you know, we used to have a stoplight there that was taken down. I would hate to see traffic turn at the stoplight where the Bank of America is on Anderson Lane Road, whatever they call it, where they go and turn into Lowe's and come down through Lowe's to get, because it's easier to get that way than to make a left off of Gallatin Road onto Calendar Lane. So has that been discussed with anybody, city?
Randy and Timothy, I'll let you kind of deal with that. Well, this is a traffic question, so.
No, we have not considered any routing through the Lowe's parking lot.
I know you haven't considered it. I'm talking about what people do.
Well, to be fair, I think that there might be some people that do that. That's certainly not a crime. It's certainly not
No.
what we want, but I do believe we had a discussion a little bit earlier concerning the traffic flow. And I think one of the things that I like what they're doing here is they have placed the entrance and the exit to the rear of the building.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're going to have, and Randy, I don't even know what the total depth would be from Gallatin Road back to the entrance. Maybe somebody can pop that one up for us real quick, but that's got to be, what's the distance? Anybody know?
It's about 270 feet. What we have done is, as you said, David, locate the entrance as far back away from Main Street, National Pike as it can be. That allows for the maximum stack on Calendar Lane as you're traveling southbound and you want to make an eastbound movement or a left turn on the Main Street. If we move that entrance any further down closer to Main Street, that's going to conflict with that stack. And we can't push the entrance any further north because we run out of property.
Mm-hmm.
So the traffic plan and the pattern, the orientation of the building and the counterclockwise movement allows for the stack to remain internal to the site. And
my only comment would be, and it looks good to me. My only comment would be is that you could have, we do have issues. As long as Lowe's has been there, coming out of Lowe's, if you're going to go down Calendar and a left out onto Main Street, that might be, it could be later on an issue depending on how well they do. But
and also,
I never have seen it. I never have seen it backed up on Calendar that much. So with Lowe's, so that's why I'm saying it's might be a concern, but I don't think it's a big concern. So
I was having more concern, David, about a left-hand turn off of Gallatin Road onto Calendar to get to Popeyes.
they're going to have to get in that center lane, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there's no light there now, and that's busy. I don't know what determines that. I guess that was my question.
Randy, was there any traffic study done on this at all?
And Rick Mayo is here with Public Works with the City Engineer's Office.
You want to speak
to address some of that?
The traffic concerns there on the Calendar East Main interface. There, Rick.
Yeah, I'm here.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if any particular traffic study's been done. That's kind of Sarah's bailiwick, but
there hasn't been.
There hasn't been one done for this. To answer that's a question. No, for this amount of traffic.
Yeah, and the question is even if there was a traffic study, would Popeyes generate enough business to warrant any change at all? And we have found out through so many studies with residential items that it didn't even warrant a major change on that as well. So I would suspect that this would be the same thing.
I would suspect so too, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Rick. Okay, Ms. Longmire, do you have any more questions?
No, that's fine.
Thank you so much. Any more questions for the developer or for Timothy or Mr. Free? All right, Chairman, do I have a motion to accept with all staff comments and the provision that the developer has agreed to an 8-foot wall on that one border? Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I think Mr. Peterson had a question.
Mr. Peterson, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
I see you.
I just wanted to thank Mr. Perry for working with the city on the Popeyes design and the color selection, and also going back to the original design of the 8-foot fence. We really appreciate them working with us. Thank you.
Happy to do it.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. You've always worked well with us, so. All right, I see no more questions. Do we have a motion to accept with all staff comments and with what developer has offered with the 8-foot wall?
So moved, Mr.
So
Chairman.
moved by Mr. Lee.
Second.
Yes. So who seconded? I'm sorry.
I did. Peterson.
Mr. Peterson, thank you. Any more discussion? Hearing none, go ahead and call the roll, Lauren. If you're in favor, aye. If you're not, say no.
Altizer,
Aye.
Bryant McCormick,
Aye.
Hardcastle,
Aye.
Hardwick,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Longmire,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Silkwood,
Aye.
Stringfellow,
Aye.
and Jenkins.
Aye.
That's all 10.
Passes unanimously. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're going to the preliminary plats now. We have one, the Cove at Old Hickory. They have agreed with all staff comments. Grant, do you have anything to add to this?
Yes, sir. This was initially submitted as a preliminary plat a couple years ago with fewer lots than what's shown here. They've since acquired another piece of property to add to this, so that rear parcel back there. So they have changed this preliminary plat and brought it back for approval. This would be 19 lots on 9.57 acres, SR1 zoning. They are utilizing about a half-acre average lot size for this, so it is well above the requirements for SR1. And it is one of our two topographically challenged plats that we've had tonight. It's pretty steep, so but it does meet with the post grading meet requirements for what we require, and they work with Public Works on that quite a bit and try to get the design where it needed to be, and surveyors done a good job with that. One of the things too is they do have, with this being fairly steep, there'll be several critical lots that's part of this. And the critical lots require an individual site plan for each of the homes that are constructed there. Shows kind of how the driveway works and how everything's going to be situated on the site to try to remediate any or remediate on the front end any issues that may come as a result of the slope out there. It will require construction plans and a final plat, and they have agreed to all comments.
Okay, and this is just the first step to get them on that process. They've agreed to all staff comments. Do we have a motion to approve? Motion to approve this preliminary plat at the Cove?
So moved.
So moved by whom?
P. Bryant McCormick.
Thank you. Ms. McCormick, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms., I think it was Ms. Stringfellow.
Stringfellow, yeah.
Okay, and any more questions?
I have a question, please.
Okay, go ahead, Tim.
Grant, the stormwater, have you guys started addressing that yet? Because with that slope and development, there's going to be a lot of stormwater runoff there.
Probably that may be more of a Public Works question. I know they did review that, and that it will be a major part of that. They've spoken with them about that, and that will be a major part of the construction plan process as well. But and Rick may be able to probably speak better on that.
Yeah, this is close to the backup of the lake here, so that's good news, and that they can get to the lake pretty quickly. And we always require a minimum 25-year design criteria. So, but yes, there's a lot of stormwater coming down through there, but sometimes steeper slopes, so sometimes a little bit better than flatter slopes to get water out of there quickly. So with it being that close to the backup of the lake, that's a good thing though.
Okay. And of course, there'll be, to kind of go a little bit further, Mr. Hardwick, as the process rolls along, we'll be more in detail what those plans will be. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hardwick. Any more questions? All right, hearing none. Do we have a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, there's a motion on the table. This is discussion, so.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Who made the motion? One more time. Who made the motion second?
Key Bryant McCormick made the motion, Ms. Stringfellow second.
Okay, thank you. We have no more discussion. Let's go ahead and take the roll. All in favor, say aye. And all those who are opposed, say no. Take the roll.
All right. Altizer,
Aye.
Bryant McCormick,
Aye.
Hardcastle,
Yes.
Hardwick,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Longmire,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Silkwood,
Aye.
Stringfellow,
Aye.
and Jenkins.
Aye.
All right, that's all 10.
All right, thank you very much. That passes. We have staff level projects, item number 11, Freehill Properties, parking lot addition, Hearst Warehouse, exterior remodel, Osram Continental USA, liquid nitrogen system installation site plan, stadium townhomes, the Triangle resub lot 2, the Shackle Wash and Shine site plan. These are staff projects that are approved, staff level projects that are pending. Centerpoint Park subdivision, lots 3 and 4, Connor subdivision, Tennessee Underground Cruising Sports Garage site plan, Jackson property, and the PNC ATM addition. Those are pending. And that's all we have on staff level. There are no other. And we go now to Director Free for the planning director comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll just have a few brief things. One thing I wanted to share, I'd shared a couple of months ago, we were starting an initiative called Make Things Brighter, looking at lighting in our commercial areas and on some of our major streets, looking at street lightings and lighting in parking lots. So we completed the survey of all the lighting. We did that probably in about 3 or 4 weeks at night. And we determined there were 433 lights that were not functioning, burnt out or not functioning within the areas that we focused on. And since then, we have gotten the information to the proper utilities for the street lights. And then we have started contact with each individual commercial property owner to get them to make the needed repairs to that. So we're hopeful over the next couple of months that working with the utilities and then also working with the individual commercial property owners that a lot of the lights when you drive through, especially some of the different commercial areas and notice, gosh, there's 3 or 4 or 5, 6 lights out, and it makes a big difference. So it's just an initiative to make things safer. I want to extend appreciation to one of our staff members, Tim Nicholson, as our zoning enforcement officer. He worked with our sign enforcement folks to do the survey, and I appreciate his initiative on that. So we're excited to see that bear some fruit on the improved lighting in those areas. Also, we got some good news here last month that we had applied with all the other cities in the county, in the Sumner County government for something called it's a new grant, Urban Transportation Planning Grant. And they were only given a few of those out in the state and only given 1 per each MPO. And that's kind of the regional transportation planning group. And we were selected for that. It's a $200,000 grant. And this Friday, TDOT will be selecting the consultant that'll do that. And then over the next several months, they'll work with our community and the other communities and come up with a master plan for bike, pedestrian, and active transportation. Basically, it's biking, walking, trails, and that type of thing. But looking at how we can tie all the communities together. And then we're going to adopt plans so that as development occurs, just like any of these developments tonight, probably not the Cove with some of the steepness of where that was. But for example, there could have been a walking trail that could have connected to some other greater plan that we had that we're going to find out through the study. Then we would have required them to construct, that portion of the walking trail. So that's pretty exciting, and we're going to be pursuing that. The governor has extended through April the ability to Zoom. And so we're planning on our April Planning Commission meeting to be Zoom. After that, we'll evaluate and more than likely, probably we'll have to see how things are. We'll probably go back to in-person or maybe some hybrid form as we move forward. I know everyone would like to get back together. There's certainly some attributes and pros to doing the Zoom, but there's also other advantages to meeting in person. One thing I might share fairly quickly is, Lauren, can you pull up that volunteer village? Is everyone getting the economic development newsletter that we've started? So that'll be out here in just a couple of weeks. But one of the things, we have a spotlight on there every month. And the spotlight, I think, for last month was Volunteer Village. This is the commercial development that was an older development that's getting a facelift over there where they tore the bank down at Walton Ferry and West Main Street. And so we're excited about that building being demolished, and it's giving a better view of this reface of the commercial strip center that's behind it. So we feel like this, Ace Hardware, and several other things are really leading the way to a good future for redevelopment and reuse within the West Main Street corridor. So we're excited about that. One thing I might mention is Paul Harpsmeyer is on the meeting with us tonight. We appreciate him being there, and just wanted to extend a congratulations to him for. We've worked with Paul on a lot of different things as he was with the police department, but now he has a new role as an interim COO. And so we're very excited as a department to have the opportunity to work with Paul in that capacity. And that's everything that we had. I just might mention, I mentioned last month that we've got a whole lot of things going on, and there's still this past month and even today, there's a lot of activity. So things are going very good. This is certainly, the city of Hendersonville is a great community, and more people every day are kind of figuring that out. So, they want to invest here, they want to live here, they want to look for a way that they can become a part of our community. So that's some of the things that are going on. And the staff, they are doing a very good job, as you can see tonight. We have a very capable staff, and they work very diligently and hard. And they turn over every stone. So all of these things that you look at tonight and you hear the staff talk about, and even the things we probably aren't really talking that much in detail about, they're very thoroughly looking at every aspect of all of these plans, as well as Mr. Mayo and the folks in Public Works Department, Shane Nolan in the Fire Department. And we appreciate their partnership and assisting us in reviewing these plans and being here this evening as well. And so that's everything that I had, David.
Thank you so much. And
one question, Mr. Chairman, for Keith.
Yes, go ahead.
Keith, the Urban Transportation Planning Grant, who is the grant recipient for that? Is that the city or the planning department, or who's the grant recipient?
It's actually all of us. It's the city of Gallatin, the city of Hendersonville.
Okay, well, that's what I couldn't understand, if it was a Sumner County grant or a city grant or
it's a collaborative grant of a consortium of all of us coming together, and that's up to a $200,000 grant, but we only have to pay 10% of it, so that's only going to be $20,000, and then we'll just we'll split it. More than likely, we have the highest population, so we'll probably bear the larger burden, but even that, it won't be probably $6,000 to $8,000 for that. That's a great bargain for a great planning tool. And this works really well. Our Parks Department is it's selected a consultant to do a master plan for our parks in city of Hendersonville. The county, I think, has had an ongoing, I don't think they're finished up with it yet, but they've got a master plan for their parks as well. So the timing of this with this urban planning grant to do bike paths and walkways, and it's not constructing them, it's just planning for where they would go and having the connectivity.
And I had one other question, if I could, for Keith, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Keith, I live near the goat farm that is being, there's an approved plan from the city of Gallatin. And have you had any input into that? I know officially it's not in our area, but has there been some discussion with the planning department, either with the county or the city of Gallatin, with the developers, just because a lot of the citizens are going to be Hendersonville citizens, even though it's not in our planning region.
There's nothing formally, just to explain to everybody where that goat farm is, the very front part of it, I think the first 600 feet off of Main Street or Gallatin Road is in the city of Gallatin. So that part of it goes to their planning commission, goes to BOMA and Gallatin. The remaining part of it, even though it's in our urban growth boundary, it's not in our planning region and it's not in the city limits. It's in the county, and the developer has no interest to bring that into the city of Hendersonville. So all that process goes through Sumner County for that rear portion where the ice rink is going to be. I've requested and seen the plan, but no, we're not actively involved in that process. I think it's just now fully initiating with the county on the county portion. The Gallatin portion has already started moving forward, but we have communication with the city of Gallatin and the county planning department. So we work with them, and I've requested and seen the plan, but haven't necessarily weighed in on anything at this point with the concept. And I think one of the issues, and as folks may talk to you because you're planning commissioners, is the concern of the hunt club that there's a road that's stubbed out to that goat farm property, and then that's going to connect to that. It's one of those things from a planning standpoint, as I've discussed with you all in the meetings and individually. Anytime there's a stub out, I'm going to be a proponent from a planning standpoint. It's good planning to continue that, not just to let it dead end. But that's really one of the bigger issues. And I think there's issues with the folks in the hunt club concerned with what kind of outside noise that might be associated with that, not just the connection with the street connection, but lights and things like that. So I'm sure as it progresses further, we will, weigh in a little bit more on that when it gets into the more specific details. At this level, it's still more like a preliminary development plan, kind of a thing where it's not into all of the specifics. Is that helpful, Dr. Lee?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you
very much.
We will get
Thank you, Mr.
updates
Chairman.
from you. We'll get updates from you on that, but we have no jurisdiction in this matter at all.
No, so we don't, but we have talked to a lot of folks that think maybe that we have, and I get a lot of emails, usually a couple a week on that subject. So Lauren responds to them very graciously and lets them know where the proper place where they could talk. And so,
Okay.
but we're very interested in the project, but there's nothing really that officially where the city of Hendersonville is doing.
Thank you very much. Any other comments before we have a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, just one quick comment, Mr. Chairman. So I really wanted to do this last month and didn't get an opportunity, but I wanted to commend Director Free and your staff on the Make Things Brighter initiative. I just think that's fabulous. Lighting at night is so important for community safety, and I know that a lot of cities just completely overlook that. So I wanted to say thank you for that initiative, and I know you all are working hard on that. And then, of course, just a quick welcome to Mr. Harbsmeyer as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I don't know if you can see my hand raised or not. Okay, so I had just a couple things. For one, I totally agree with Ms. Silkwood. Especially the lighting, that is amazing. Again, I applaud you and definitely welcome to Mr. Harbsmeyer. Just a point of clarification. I know I tried to message you. My internet crashed and I had to log back in. I just want to verify I didn't miss a vote in the process.
I think you might have missed one vote. Lauren, do you have that available? I think there was one.
On the Optimum Men's Health is
Yes.
what it was.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
You want to go ahead and state that vote? We can go ahead. And
I
do it.
would. I vote in the affirmative.
Okay, so that'll make it unanimous.
To approve, yes. Okay, well, good. I kept trying to log back in and I sent you a message, Mr. Chairman.
I got the message and I told everybody about it. And
okay, good. As long as you knew I was trying to get back on.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I don't see any other comments. Do we have a motion, Ms. Stringfellow?
Make the motion that we adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. We got the second. Thank you very much. And thank you to all the commissioners. Great meeting tonight. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Bye-bye.